just wanted to briefly talk about the importance of what locks mean to me, um, and the reason for me wanting to grow back my locks. First of all, for me, it's a spiritual journey for myself. It's a spiritual journey because I find that growing my locks helps bring this energy inside of me. It helps bring this spiritual um, part of being. And what I mean by that is that although you really don't have to have locks in order to be spiritual, and that's not what I mean, but what I'm trying to say is that the purpose of the reason why I like to grow locks and the purpose of me wanting to grow them, because it's a spiritual thing, and it helps to keep me connected to the Most High. That locks to me is a natural way of life, if you know what I mean. It's a way of life for me. It's a way of being spiritually elevated with the Most High, with your God. And also, it's a natural way of living. You don't get caught up into the material as much. Such as like Bob Marley. As you know, he's a Rastafarian. And we all know that Rastafarian is a very spiritual people. And their way of life is more in a natural state of way. Meaning that they acknowledge their God and they live by that standard of living. And so my purpose of growing the locks is the same way, you know. It keeps me more spiritual elevated in Christ, and it's a way of living. A lot of people grow locks purposely for personal reason, is their own personal reason is to maybe for hairstyle, and that is okay because it's okay to do that. So I'm not judging anyone, but I'm just saying for myself, I prefer to grow locks is because it gives me a spiritual way of life, and I feel connected with God when I have locks. And not saying that I need something on the outside to get connected, because we all know that God is a spiritual God. But what I'm saying is that locks, it keeps me elevated and it keeps me connected spiritually. And so a lot of times, like I said, a lot of times when I wasn't in locks, I was more out appearance. My mind was set on so much beauty on the outside, if you know what I mean. You know, I had to be this certain image of the world standard, if you know what I mean. And I find that when I had locks, my mind was more focused on the most important thing, and that is God, that is living the life of obedience. And So I want to discuss the importance of the freeforming of locks. Now, freeforming locks is more of a natural way of growing your dreads. I mean, you want to just leave it though and let it do what it want to do. That is what you call freeform. Give you an example of freeform. Bob Marley is one of the examples. I choose that in my head because it's a natural way of life. It's my natural way of life. And so those who may want to venture out and decided that you might want to grow locks, and you might kind of want to understand, you might don't know how to take care of locks, or you want to, you kind of undecided on how you want your locks to grow. Well, there is many forms or ways of growing locks. There is sister locks, micro sister locks. Then you have the semi-forming lock. That is the twisting of the roots. And you don't twist this as often. It's called semi-forming. And then you have the freeform lock. There is many ways that you can grow that you can start your locks. In other words, you know, some people do it freeform, as I say I wanted my locks to be. It's the Bob Marley way. And then you have those who plait their locks for starters. There is some that would rub their hair with a brush or rub it in circle emotions. And then you have some that would twist their hair, cords, twist it with a comb. There are so many ways that you can really start off your locks. What is the important to know about taking care of your locks? The important and the experience that I have had with growing my locks, and the pros and the cons, is that at the time, I was growing it for spiritual reason, but I was impatient with growing my locks. And what I mean by that is that I wanted the fast way of locking my locks, and that's what most people want and do because they're impatient with the growing it, free forming. So, and then some people like the grooming part of it. And so when I had my locks before, I twisted, and then I had another set of locks that I actually extension to my locks. Now, the con out of that was that after some period of time, when my locks was growing, with the extension added to the end, it had caused my ends to really be like thinning out. And it was like if you pull it, it seemed like it would just break off my ends. It had really damaged my ends. And so that's what it does when you put the extension added on to your lock. So I'm just letting you all know that just be mindful that it can cause breakage at your ends. Then also I had put too many products in my hair, and it caused it mildew and build up mildew in my hair, not mildew, but mildew in my between my locks. And then in the beginning of me starting my locks, I wanted, like I said, I was impatient with it, and I wanted to grow it. I mean, I wanted to lock up, and I know a lot of some of you all feel the same way. It's doing that now, or about to do that. And I'm just letting you know, when you put too much products in your hair, as your locks start over the years, as it start growing, those products builds up the mildew. And then you have to find someone, a loctology, to actually cleanse your locks out. Or you may have to buy vinegar or whatever to use in order to give you that cleansing to your locks. So so those who want to start locking your locks, be mindful that when you put a lot of the gel, the wax and everything, it's a buildup in your locks. So just be mindful. Your best method of a healthy lock is not put any much product as you can in your lock. And the reason why is because the healthier your lock is, when it's full, when you don't put that many products in your in your hair, your locks is fuller and it's much healthier and it's softer. Now, at one time, my locks were real. It felt like ropes, and it felt heavy because it was like ropes, and that comes from all the twisting your locks. When you are twisting it all the time in through your roots, you cause the breakage. Some people have gotten actually not just mildew, but they also shedding, and that's come from a lot of twisting your locks. So be mindful of the twisting from the root. Especially do not twist it too tight. Another thing, style. We all like styles, right? We want to, we have the excitement of wanting to just do a lot of things with your hair. Your locks is growing long and it's beautiful, and you want the color in your hair, and you want this beautiful style. But be mindful when you do those styles, right? You stretching out your roots, okay? You're pulling your roots, and it can cause breakage. And these would eventually, over the years, can cause damage to your locks. And that's what happened to me. That was one of the reasons why I did chop my locks off, because I was doing all these styles and color, and you just wanted to look nice and stuff, right? And so eventually I had to pay the price of cutting off my locks. And so and this is another reason why I am going to go into the freeform, is because you just let your locks just grow. It's grow like a plant. Like you just, put a little water in your plant or whatever, and you don't put too much of, too much things that it would cause your plant to die. But it's the same thing with your locks. So this is the reason why I wanted to freeform. my locks. But anyway, yeah, just be mindful of those who want to grow, want to start your locks, to be mindful of not to put too many products in your locks. Uh, you can over wash it. You can over put oil in it. In the wintertime, yes, you want to put a lot of oil in it because it causes dryness during the wintertime. But in the summertime, you want to lay down that oil, not too much oil. You just want it to grow natural. Do not put no wax in your locks because it will cause mildew when it start growing over the years. Another thing too is it's good to wrap up your locks. It's good to wrap your hair up so you won't get any lengths in your locks. That is another problem of growing locks I have had with my lock, is getting lint from laying down from my pillow. Okay, so it's good to have a silk satin scarf that you can just tie up at night when you are going to sleep. And that is one good way of, and it keeps the moisture in your hair. Okay, I find also that when it comes to free forming your lock, you don't need too many too much oil in your locks. Not that your hair need to be too dry, but you don't want it to be a little bit too oily because you want it to lock up. And you actually, it's like more like it locks up through your roots and form into this little big afro and then start locking up. So you want it to lock up, and so you don't want to put too much oil or conditioner in your lock. Now I do find that some people do condition their locks. At the beginning of free forming, you don't need conditions. I find that some people put condition to moisturize their locks over the year. And again, as I say, a lot of products will cause mildew. And mostly of the time, you really need with your lock maybe to give it that healthy way is you might want to use the aloe vera plant for condition, and that is the long plant that sticks on the side. You all know what that is, and so you can use that for condition. Some people don't even use shampoo, they just use water. But if you happen to want to use shampoo, which I use shampoo, I use the black soap for when I did had my locks, and I would use it now. So black soap is what I like to use. And I like to use for oil in my lock is the Jamaican black castor oil. It's very good. Yeah, Jamaican black castor oil. And so that's really all you really need. You don't really need anything else. Some people, like I said, they like to condition their locks. And I find that I wouldn't want to condition my lock. I have done it with my other locks because I was twisting it a lot. But like I said, the less product that you use, your hair grows much healthier and your locks look good and healthy. So if you want healthy locks, the less products you need to use. And also, do not twist your locks. And do not do all the pulling and these fancy style to your locks. You just want it to be free form. And the purpose of free forming is that it's free. It's free to do whatever it want to do. You know what I'm saying? You just want your locks to do whatever it wants to do. Now, there is times with free forming that it matted up. And some people like it matted up. That's just the way they want to grow their locks. And if you don't like it matted up, then you can break those locks apart and keep it from matted. Now, one thing I when I, over the past, growing my locks, because my hair is fine, coarse hair, I used to had to actually braid it together because the locks was thin. Okay, so and that's another reason why I like the freeform, because I realized that I had started my last lock set of lock. I started it off with freeform at the beginning, and I find that my locks was full and it was nice and thick when I was doing the freeform. But then when I started twisting it and twisting it, it started thinning out. So and this is the reason why I prefer to freeform my locks. So I'm just giving y'all a little experience, what advice and what I had to experience over the years of me growing locks, and to share that with you for those who are looking to decide that you want to go on a lock journey. Okay, it's a beautiful thing to grow dreads and to be natural, and I miss it. I really miss it. And so I just wanted to share to you all my experience on the reason why the reason why I'm growing freeform, the purpose of it, and just to share with you a little bit on healthcare of your life.